Happy New Year to all and welcome to the program Newsroom from Canal International. We are coming to you from our production center in Douala, Cameroon. In fact, President Paul Biya addressed the nation on December 31. That was the New Year's message for 2014. Major highlights of President Biya's speech in this edition of the program. And of course, we are going to talk security, economy, and of course, health, as President Paul Biya told us, with the rest of the panel members. Welcome. This is Newsroom. Our lineup for today's edition of the program is those. We have Honorable Fritz Ngeka Fritz Ngeka Etoke, sorry. He is a member of parliament for Fako East constituency, and of course, one of the panelists. He is a member of the Defense and Security Committee of Cameroon's lower house of parliament. Honorable Fritz Etoke, thanks for having accepted my invitation.
Thank you.
And you are welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
President Paul Biya addressed the nation, and a major issue raised during his address or in his speech to the nation was security. Were you very comfortable when he talked about that?
I believe I was very, very comfortable. You know, the President of the Republic is the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces. And, you know, he has done a lot for Cameroon. The peace we have today is thanks to him. He has proven beyond doubt that he can lead this country to 2035.
And leading the country and talking about security, we got information recently that there is going to be a recruitment of, I should say, conscription of about 3,000 soldiers or 4,800. Does that put into jeopardy our security?
No, I don't think so.
Or like seeing that there is a shortcoming in our security operatives?
No, you know, look at the armed forces. You know, every year, a number of them go on retirement. He's just trying to make sure while these old people go on retirement, there are some young people to take over the baton of command. You see, yes, he just launched a concours, a recruitment for young Cameroonians, I think between the age of 18 and 23 years, and the deadline is the 31st of January 2014.
Well, another person on my panel is Muki Charles Linonge, a journalist and of course a social critic. Thanks, Muki, for having accepted my invitation.
Thank you very much, Kejang. Happy New Year to you, first of all.
And to you too.
Right, and Happy New Year to the viewers of Canal D. I know there are hundreds, if not thousands of them out there watching this program. Still
on security matters, you were part of, at the time you were in full broadcasting with the government-run media. I'm talking about the CRTV. You happen to have been, or rather have known much about the Central African Republic, where you indeed did a lot of reports on the security issues. Is it different from what we observe today?
Well, thank you very much. Moments ago, Honorable Happy New Year attributed the peace we enjoy in this country to one man,
President Biya.
President Biya, and that's what has always been going on. Usually not very comfortable with this idea because sometimes if we Cameroonians did not love peace, I don't think him alone could ensure that. But coming back to the situation in the Central African Republic, we had these signals long ago that there was trouble coming in from that end. This country has been unstable consistently for more than 2 decades. And if you're wise and your neighbor's house is on fire constantly every week, I think it's time for you to take the necessary.
You don't have to sleep.
We are in a system where our system is reactive. It's not proactive. Because if we were proactive, we would have envisaged all these situations. In 2004, 2005, when there was this upsurge of highway robbery in the East region because of the instability in Chad and the Central African Republic, Cameroon suffered tremendously. one strategy which the rebels from the other end used was abductions. They'll cross over and, you know, they take our people hostage and cross the border with them over to the Central African Republic and ask for ransoms. I particularly carried out a mission along the whole of that border where we did a documentary on state TV, and we saw how they operated. You need to see how porous our borders are. But I think we are going to come back detailing into the security matters. But
thank you.
What is happening in Kejang is something that had been announced long ago, and I'm surprised that we are panicking at this moment.
In fact, we should not panic, indeed. Thanks very much, Moki Charles Linonge. And another person on the panel is Ferdinand Difo. He is a militant of the Social Democratic Front, and most precise that Honorable Fritz Etoke is a member of Parliament for Fako East and of the ruling Cameroon People's Democratic Movement. And so, to balance our panel, I had to bring in Ferdinand Difo, who is a militant, of course, social critic with the Social Democratic Front of the main leading opposition party. Ferdinand Difo, thanks for having accepted our invitation.
Thank you very much.
And you heard Moki Charles Linonge and Honorable Fritz Etoke talked about security. But this time, we should talk something. One of the major issues that Cameroonians were expecting to hear in President Biya's speech was the announcement of a date of both East and West Cameroons to celebrate reunification. Unfortunately, it did not come. And another thing is, President Biya did not make any promise. Ferdinand's interpretation?
Well, I want to say that the views I express here are my views and not those of the party.
Come on.
Yes. Going back to your question, I will say that we have not been fair with ourselves and our history. The night he was making that speech was the 31st of December. 1st January is independence of East Cameroon. So why do we continue to hide our history? 1st January should be celebrated like the independence of one part of this country, or the independence of Cameroon. Why must we hide our history? Can we come to a stage whereby we recognize our history? Whether it was wrong, it was right. It's history, and we forge a way to go ahead. So I'm not surprised that there was no date for the anniversary celebrations. Since 2010, we have been expecting it. During the September 30 elections, he said conditions were now ripe for him to go to Buea. During the governor's conference in Yaoundé, the governor of the Southwest region said the projects had been accomplished 100%. So since he's somebody who operates, he wants to have his agenda to himself, he will decide when he will go. But I hope when he finally goes, we'll address the real problems.
Well, thanks very much, Ferdinand Difo. First things first, we've done with that. We should go straight away to our story of the week. Thanks to our productions manager, Wanchuan Collins. Our story of the week.
Barely over a week after winning the 54th edition of the Football Cup of Cameroon, the president of Young Sports Academy FC has died at the age of 68. Mr. Young Francis transcended to the world beyond yesterday Monday in Atlanta in the United States of America, where he had taken ill since July.
I left here sometime in July for a routine medical checkup after he had done some tests in Yaoundé and discovered he had some complications with the intestines. So he traveled to Atlanta for proper medical attention, and all this while he had been good and even living in the house with the junior sister and then with my junior brothers. Unfortunately, on the 19th, he was hospitalized, and we only got news this morning that he passed away.
The multifaceted business tycoon is leaving the scene without even seeing the much coveted football trophy brought to Bamenda last week by the boys of Yosa FC. On a condolence visit at his home in Bamenda, Governor Adolphe Lafrique expressed the concern of the administration and government, regretting that the joy of the football victory has been cut short.
After our joy, our smile with that cup, we are now crying. Mourning our father, our main economic operator of the region, Payong's Academy have not only a team of football, but he also carry out some many economic activities. It's a huge vacuum that has been created in the northern region. I would like, on behalf of the head of state, on behalf of the Prime Minister, head of government, the entire government, mainly the ministry in charge of sports and physical education, the Ministry of Higher Education, Secondary Education, extend to the family our deep concern.
I'm so embarrassed, that man is a great man. He's a notable in Bamenda. So I don't know. The news is so scary. I don't think it's the truth.
I don't think that with the football ambition that Payong was really bringing up in this town, I don't think that we will still continue to have that football system.
Over 12,000 dependent people have been rendered bereaved by this loss, coming 5 months after the death of his mother, whose own corpse is still at the mortuary. A native of Com in Boyo division of the Northwest region, young Francis was a professional typist and former football referee before diving into the business world. He leaves behind 10 children, 2 widows, thousands of colleagues and friends in the educational, sports, communication and business domains.
Well, of course, that was our Northwest Regional Bureau Chief, Annie Collins, talking there on the passing to oblivion of President Young of Young Sports Academy, the founder. Moki Charles Linonge, you heard Young Sports Academy won the Cameroon Cup finals. And that is, I think, the 3rd club from Cameroon East,
the English,
west
from
of the Mongo.
From the English part of Cameroon.
From the English part of Cameroon.
Yeah, from
and
the
week they won, the president passed on. What a comment you make.
Yeah, it was rather pathetic, not only from the sports point of view, but Payong is one of those emblematic figures on the educational landscape of Cameroon. We know his prowess in terms of the creation of schools and reputable schools in the Northwest.
Not nonsense schools.
Yes. I must say, especially coming back to the victory, I saw him like a kind of Moses who too was taking the Israelites and,
across the seas.
And it got to a certain point, he couldn't see the promised land. The players who won the trophy, that was the promised land, but unfortunately their Moses could not see it. So I just say it is the will of God.
The will of God, indeed. Yeah. Honorable Etoke, you are a member of parliament, and when you hear that such a dynamo of ideas of development has to pass on, does it frighten you in the sense that his contribution has ended?
Well, I don't think so. I just want to say it's rather unfortunate, but I believe the legacy he has left behind will be continued by the people he left behind. As I said, he had 10 children. He had an administrative bench there. I think they will just continue. It's rather unfortunate, as I said, after giving us a trophy. The trophy we had, that should be around about the 3rd.
That's just the 3rd
trophy we are having in the English Cameroon. And you know, he has done so much in the educational sector in our country. Payong, I have nothing to say, but
most of his structures are used by government universities in the country. Commendable indeed.
Wonderful, it's a wonderful thing. But anyway, he has played his role. He has gone. He has left the baton for us to continue with.
Ferdinand, before you did a secondary school in the Northwest region, and you happen to have been one of those when they talked about schools in the Northwest region and those who break through, they should talk about Payong's school. Are you feeling chilly hearing that he passed on to oblivion just at the time he won the Cameroon Cup finals, and not seeing the promised land, just like Moki Charles was saying?
Yeah, like Moki, I would say he did not see the promised land, but I think he has seen it. Payong, as of now, should be celebrated. What he has planted, the structures he has put in place, I am sure all the products of Payong will defend his legacy. So with the 10 children, his children are not only the 10, all those who passed through his schools and
As children.
schools, yes, as children. From the images we saw the governor paying tribute to Payong, visiting the family. I don't think the government can allow that his structures or his institutions to fall.
Well, let me contradict that a bit.
Yes, Moki.
We have this notorious habit of our government allowing such structures to fall. Take the example of Marc Vivien Foe when he died. Lots of promises were made that Marc Vivien Foe's structures were going to be catered for. But where are we today?
Paul Sopopriso?
Paul Sopopriso, and the list is long. You can go ahead.
Come on.
Yes,
I agree with you.
Yes, Honorable.
No, I believe, it's pride of praise.
That's good.
Those promises were made. I believe something is on the pipeline. Those projects will be realized. We have so many things to do in the country. Do one thing at a time. All those, we have them in our books.
Let's best, like Ferdinand used to say, let's best the pipeline. So, okay, we are moving to our first theme of the day before this break. Welcome back, and if you are joining us, this is Newsroom coming to you from Cameroon's economic capital, Douala, and of course, Canada's production center. President Paul Biya addressed the nation on the 31st of December, and Cameroonians were expecting to hear more than the ordinary. Unfortunately, they were caught in the whirlpool of not having the usual promises and, of course, not hearing what President Paul Biya, or they were expecting to hear. Ferdinand Difo, what did you not hear in President Biya's speech that you expected to hear?
I want to say that the president's speech never surprised me. I'm never surprised by the president's speech. He has been very consistent, making a number of analyses, saying the country is not moving, making prescriptions. At times he talks like somebody from space who is not living in this country. I want to say that in the 1990s, social upheavals, the SDF was born because some militants and some Cameroonians thought, and rightly so, that the country is poorly managed. In the 90s, we had people came out trying to fight against bribery and corruption, capital flight, mismanagement, and so on. Corruption. The party was born, other parties were born. These parties periodically come out to say, things are not moving. He says, things are moving. 31, 32 years after, he comes up to say, things are not moving, but it's not dramatic. I remember when, at one point, they said there was need for change. He said, what do you change? The person who brought change? I hear him lamenting. Leave politicians aside. Do you remember Lapiro in the 80s? Singing about Mimba Wio and crying that this country is not moving? Do you remember the cardinal saying that this country is not moving? His chief executive officer, instead of listing what is not moving in this country, is supposed to provide solutions. I listen to a president who gives out analysis of what is not moving in the country with no solution.
We'll come back to you, Moki Charles. Let me come to you there. What did you not hear in the president's speech that you were expecting to hear?
Well, thank you, Kejang. For once, or maybe another time, the head of state came out frankly to acknowledge the fact that there were lots of lapses and the year was a failure. You know, he has done it before when he came up with this famous concept of inertia. He did it again, I think it was 3 years ago, when he talked about the administration being run by seminars, workshops, and so on. This time around again, he was very frank and clear. If you read in between the lines, President Biya is disappointed with the way the government is functioning. That's why he put forth a number of questions. We have
rhetorical questions.
We have the manpower. We have the resources. we have the political institutions, we have the whatsoever. But what is actually not going? And that's why I joined Ferdinand in saying, in his place, I'm a journalist, we provide answers to the public. We don't raise questions. When the public raises the questions, we give the answers.
And to give the answers,
the head of state,
we might be able to have a mastery.
The head of state, as the main policy maker of this country, as the commander-in-chief and as the president, is supposed to come and tell us that, okay, things have not been moving. We have experienced an economic failure in 2013 because they said we expected a growth rate of 4.8%, I mean 6.2% or so.
Yeah.
We are at 4.8%. That's a failure, for example. These are things that have not been moving. And I, as Commander-in-Chief or the head of state, have pinpointed these areas as the weaknesses, and we are going to take these actions in the near future. He was a little bit shadowy at some point, but I loved the frankness with which President Biya accepted the failure, of the system. And I think it's a strong indicator that the days ahead are not going to be very pleasant for a number of people who hold some high offices in this country.
Thank you very much. Honorable Etoke Frit, you are a member of parliament and, of course, of the ruling CPDM party, and President Biya happened to be your president, the president of your party. And when you listen to him, maybe there were certain things that, certain things that you were expecting. One, I believe, he talked about something that really has a direct linkage with your profession at the parliament. And secondly, something that had to do or has to do with your constituency, but which he did not mention.
Well, I would like to differ with what Mr. Moki has said and Mr. Ferdinand. For more than 30 years that the President, His Excellency Mr. Paul Biya, has been in command, I would want to praise him that he has done so much for Cameroon. You don't expect the President to unveil everything. I know he has a plan, he has been used to, he has been doing it, and he has been succeeding. Reunification is coming. It's about...
But he did not mention that in his speech. Did it disturb you as somebody coming from Faku?
No, it didn't.
Where will be celebrated?
It didn't. I know that the works that are going on, we are close to about 98%. I know any moment soon we'll be celebrating the
50th anniversary. Or the reunification. They don't want to call it 50th anniversary. Now, he talked about putting in place the Constitutional Council. This has to come and complete
the Constitution of 18 January 1996.
And you are a member of the Defense and Security of the Parliament. We are beginning with politics anyway. But as a jurist, would that have an independence?
Sure, it's going to have an independence.
Because people say that the judiciary doesn't have any independence.
No, as I know, I have been a member of the judiciary since 2005 when I graduated from ENAM. I will want to assure you and all Cameroonians that the judiciary is totally independent.
Free from corruption, because we know that CONAC has published results, and of course National Transparency International, we know that the judiciary is one of the most corrupt bodies in country.
I don't think so. I worked there. Maybe I did not see when I was there, but I know that we were doing our job with all our hearts. There's something. You see, the president started, we're talking about Senate. The Senate is already in place.
It's in place. How free is the Senate? If it's not a rubber stamp Senate like the lower house?
The lower house is not a rubber stamp assembly. No, I'm sorry, it's not a rubber stamp. You saw when we had a budgetary session. You saw the debates that took place. I'm very fortunate to be one of those who were there. It was
a very rife
It was a
debate.
wonderful experience. We debated and finally came out with good laws that are going to make Cameroon to where we want Cameroon to be. Talking about the Senate, I don't want to, they have just, it's still a baby, but I believe the baby is faring very well. Talking about the Constitutional Council, we have put, the Senate is already in place. The Supreme Court is still performing the functions of the Constitutional Council. We hope with the coming of the Constitutional Council anytime soon, because the President of the Republic has never failed us. Whenever he promises something, he comes, no matter how long it takes. I know we'll have it.
Ferdinand, for you, Ferdinand, for you, Ferdinand, for you of the Social Democratic Front, and I must precise very sincerely that he is a jurist, and when you hear President Biya says he's putting in place the Constitutional Council, but he did not give any exact period or time frame. It's like making one. In fact, that was the only promise he made, without necessarily mentioning a time frame. Just like Honorable Etoko was saying, is it disturbing to say that the Constitutional Council might equally go the way of the baby Senate?
No, very soon we are going to have the Constitutional Council. I have no doubt.
We said very soon.
Very soon can be 20 years. It can be next month. It can be 2 months. Of what use is it going to be in Cameroon? Of what use is it going to be in Cameroon? We have had reports from Transparency International, CONAC, saying that the judiciary is not as few as it should have been. I will only expect things to start changing when I see our president honoring Article 66 of the Constitution. I'll start taking him serious. The day he will declare his assets, make provisions for his ministers to declare assets, and tell me, this breed of people he chooses as directors, board members, as ministers, what is the criteria he uses to choose them because they fail him on a daily basis?
That is the discretion of the head of state, and I want to believe that...
He should not regret. He's regretting. Why does he choose these people? You see, people 90 years, 80 years, they go and come. Go and come. You remember the Gaga report in 1991? You remember the Gaga report?
I remember.
Yes. If we had solved these problems, I expect him one day to tell us that effectively he has proof of corruption.
Mokis itchy there.
Yeah, I'd like to come back. Let me focus on the speech a little bit more to explore. It's true, Honorable speaking from his political blanket, and when the president promises,
which is his choice,
they say he delivers. Oh, yeah. even 20 years after. It's like promising your child, you send the child to school and you keep postponing, and the child is growing older and you send the child to class 1 when he's already 20 years old. The Senate took about 17 years to come. And this idea of the Constitutional Council, I really don't like to hear it again because it's been coming in speech. It's been so recurrent in speeches that it's now like a child's play, like this reunification thing, which I'm surprised to hear Honorable say is not, is not disturbed by the fact that it didn't come up in the speech. For 3 years, you make a promise that the reunification anniversary is going to take place. And last year, it was even more concrete when he said, after the casting his ballot in Yaoundé for the twin elections, that before the end or by the end of this year. Then we got administrators...
Excuse me, Moki, don't you think that it is not his making? That is, he said by the end of this year, hoping that he was counting on people who would deliver the goods before they bring him.
We have overzealous administrators who stand up, and for the past 1 year, we have those administrators in the Southwest who keep on saying, Buea is ready. If the reunification should take place next week, Buea is ready. Last month, I think on the 12th, I was in Buea, when even the main grandstand, which is supposed to host the head of state, was not complete because I saw these guys of the Civil Engineering Corps of the military. They were doing finishing touches. We have this flyover from the Buea main roundabout to the governor's office, which was still being completed by the 12th of last month. We have this road, and this is the most scandalous, which is really driving me crazy. This road from Great Sopo, passing to going to linking Great Sopo and Small Sopo, and that's one of the main roads that's going to decongest the town because during that celebration, the main boulevard will certainly be blocked. So this is the road that is certainly going to help, the inhabitants. This road has not been mentioned for quite some time. And when the delegations come from Yaoundé and so on, our administrators carefully avoid taking them to this road. And let me tell you, we have the facts. There is 1.4 billion francs which has been budgeted for the tarring of this road. We are waiting in Buea.
And then, Honorable, who is expected to render an account on these issues? You've heard Ferdinand, you've heard Moki, and you as a member of parliament from Fako East, you will certainly have a front row when President Biya will come to Buea. And the reunification, because they have just burst the abscess there, the reunification will be celebrated in Buea I think Cameroonians, east or west of the Mongo, hold it so dear in their mind. Are you so disturbed, or aren't you so disturbed by such revelations that you are hearing? Not from these two members of the panel, but from other Cameroonians. I suppose you came back from Buea yesterday.
Yes, I was in Buea yesterday. It's disturbing too, but you know...
we talked about 98%.
We're about 98%.
What about the 8%? How soon do you think it will be finished?
2%. You can, I don't know.
Sorry, 2%.
I'm not part of the local organizing committee, but they are doing their best. You know, I don't believe they intended to take us to 2014.
That's it.
They have been
No,
doing
but
they have been doing their best.
These fallacious promises every day that
no, what I'm saying is that they have been doing their best.
Honorable.
But unfortunately for them,
Honorable.
the best was not good enough.
Honorable, don't make me doubt the governor. When in Yaoundé he said everything was okay. The local organizing committee, which he heads, said everything is okay. If you make me doubt the governor, I will doubt the whole project. These projects, let me tell you, Honorable, we are not part of that committee.
Yes.
So,
but there's something.
Even
they are doing
this reunification. I think we're even making a mistake somewhere. It's not only for Buea.
It's not only for Buea, for the whole country. It's for the whole country.
No, even for the south, there are projects which are earmarked for other towns in the southwest.
But it's for the whole country.
You come from you are honorable for
Tiko Moyoka, East.
How many projects have you benefited down there?
No.
I think
how many of them have been executed?
I cannot be enumerating them here on studio,
I think not everybody, Honorable, I want to tell
how many projects has Kumba benefited? How many projects has Manfe benefited?
Not everybody will benefit from the reunification project. I want to believe so. Otherwise, the people of the Northwest region, Moki Charles Lenonge, will say that we want to benefit too.
No, we are talking about the point of action, which is the Southwest.
Yes.
I remember from the onset, a number of projects were earmarked for a number of towns. Because there was this debate even, before Buea even was chosen as the town to host the reunification. You know what went on between Kumba and Manfe and Buea?
Are you aware that there are projects in Tiko? I cannot enumerate them.
Why are they hiding the project?
No, this is not the right forum. But there are projects in Tiko, Buea, Limbe, everywhere. That is
how many reunification projects
are you aware that we used to have
give a list of projects that have been
excuse me. Are you aware that because of this reunification, they wrote from memos going towards my fort that links to Limbe.
What is the state?
Has been renovated.
What is the state?
Hold on. Should I give you the state of that footpath?
And then I use the road.
Should I give you the state of that windy path? It's a death trap. That thing that has been done down there.
I used it yesterday.
I use it regularly. It passes through my village.
There are places where they are.
Let us listen to Honorable.
There are towns where they are dying to have the tower we have on that road. They haven't.
No, if we want to do something for a country like Cameroon, we give it our state.
Let us get Honorable, and then Honorable, please complete, then we'll get Ferdinand.
See, please, I want to assure Cameroonians
that it will hold.
That the reunification is in a couple of days.
No, for sure. It must come.
And the project
I
will be
went
complete.
there yesterday. I went through Buea. I saw that we are about, I said 98%. I want to say we are 99%.
Honorable, have you looked at the water supply situation in Buea?
Yes,
have you had a recent report?
It has improved.
Yes, by how many percent?
No, it's improved.
There are trenches which were dug.
You cannot deliver a baby today.
There are trenches which were dug, in Buea in the name of water supply. Till date, no pipe has been put. One of them passes right in front of my door.
All right, come on. We are going to go. In fact, we will talk more on that issue. But Ben Ferdinand was very itchy to say something. I don't think it's contrary to what Honorable was saying.
No, not at all, not at all. I want to invite Cameroonians to go to Bamenda. See the projects that were done in 2010 when the president was in Bamenda. 2-3 months after he left, when the rains came, it were better that they don't even touch the road that we had before. These contracts are given to friends. I'm not even sure the governor has control over those contractors. I'm not even sure that he is the one who gives out those contracts. With all his zeal and all his will, he cannot do anything to those contractors.
Ferdinand, when the president went to Bamenda, there was no Ministry of Public Contracts that was attached to the presidency.
No, I look at the contracts that were executed. I like the way you're putting it. CONAC published a report citing the Ministry of Public Contracts as being very corrupt. So don't expect anything to change.
Excuse me, please.
Yeah,
How can you say the Ministry of Public Contracts was created just a year ago? You are talking about being corrupt. No.
Did you follow the CONAC report?
No, but there's something. The people of CONAC that published the report, they are humans like us.
Appointed by?
No, they are humans like us.
They could be appointed.
They can make mistakes.
But the ministry made no
But
comment.
there's something, what I'm saying is that
yes.
The Ministry of Public Contract is a new institution.
Yeah.
Let us give it
time
to mature.
Honorable,
we are making
the level
of execution of contract is more than 50%.
It's a new institution. It's a new institution with old people and old mentalities. So the corruption phenomenon has just been transferred from where it was to a new institution. That is why CONAC indexed it. If only within 1 or 2 years of existence we have such a report, it means by the time this ministry is 10 years, Cameroon is going to be finished.
Okay. We shall be coming back to talk more on how President Paul Biya addressed the nation without making promises, indeed. But then we should have reaction from one of Cameroon's political heavyweights. I'm talking about Ni John Fundi. He is the chairman of the Social Democratic Front, Cameroon Frontline Opposition Party. Our man on the beat, Northwest Regional Bureau correspondent Annie Collins caught up with Ni John Fundi and got this reaction immediately. He listened to the head of state talk to the nation. With Collins Wanchang, let's have Ni John Fundi.
The Constitutional Council. We've heard this over and over, which is a thing that we were supposed to have done a long time ago. And he didn't do that. He's still talking about it now. And that is, of course, typical of him. That when he starts a thing, excuse me, he will repeat it. And if you look at this speech today, it's a typical speech that has been given over the years, repeating the same thing. And he also talked about the health institutions that will combat malaria. And of course, these health institutions is talked about a reference hospital in Sangbalema, an improved hospital in Yaoundé and Douala. So to him, these are the highly populated areas where he thinks that he should centralize his health business. The far north for a long time has suffered from cholera, measles, nothing is being mentioned. The northwest with all the bad roads has no right to any health facilities that can take care of the health of the people here. And yet, if you think of the population of just Mezam, it's above that of the south. But you'll take a reference hospital to build in Sangbalema, which is not far from Yaoundé, and of course linked with a good road. And in Yaoundé you have the CNPS hospital, you have the reference hospital, you have the gynecological hospital, you have queues that is training doctors. But when you have all these things centralized in one place, it means that you, people in the other areas can die. You do not keep a dam, and you're there, and our people are here clapping. And he's talking about the second generation project in our in our economy. The second generation projects. How were the first generation projects executed? With the discussion and debates in the last parliament, talking about the execution of the budget.
Well, thanks very much. That was an excerpt of the national chairman of the Social Democratic Front, Cameroon leading opposition party. And of course, thanks to our man on the beat, Northwest Regional Bureau Chief Annie Collins. Moki Charles Linonge, you heard the chairman talk about commenting on President Biya's speech, and one of the major issues he raised was the health issue. Are you in line with him?
Yes, there again I was...
Or you contradict what he says?
No. I expressed the same disappointments on the State of the Nation address. Because this whole idea of free malaria treatment and so on, I don't know who is fooling who here. We have little children and we know what prevails in hospitals. I think we have enough resources to go further than that. There's actually, I don't know, maybe it exists in other areas, but in most of the hospitals around here where we are, the treatment for malaria is not free.
Simple malaria.
Somebody needs to tell the head of state that it is not free. Well, he mentioned 3 major hospitals for 3 major towns, Douala, Yaoundé, and Saint-Milima. Douala, which I find saturated with health institutions, even though it might never be enough. Yaoundé, which I find saturated. Saint-Milima. I thought that for once, a town like Buea with this increasing population and so on, or Bamenda with the increasing population we have in Bamenda, the population explosion, could benefit from one, because if Bamenda has one, it means it's going to serve Bamenda and Bafoussam. You know, if Buea has one, it's going to serve Manfe, Kumba, it's going to serve Limbe, and so on. Frankly, I really don't know whether it's a speech that was written for the head of state or somebody actually advises him, or, you know, on the technical aspects on the ground. But on the health issue again, I think I was a little bit disappointed.
Did I hear you say the president said they're building some reference hospitals in Douala?
Well, come on.
No. This hospital is finished since 2012. The Chinese funded that hospital. It's at Yassa. But the government that was supposed to supply water to that hospital and electricity for 127 million have not done their part of the work. It exists. Saint-Malima is 7 years. It's Olangena who launched that project. Why is it limping?
Olangena is in prison.
Yes, but he launched that project in Saint-Malima. So imagine we take a loan from the Chinese, they come and build the one in Douala, it's finished, for 127 million to provide water and electricity. We cannot. Then we say in a speech, we jubilate. This year I saw in the north, Cameroonians dying of cholera. I saw Cameroonians in the north
dying of malaria.
Under trees dying of malaria. Where are the Millennium Development Goals? Is he mentioning them? We have a project for 2015, Millennium Development Goals, and the president says that we have abundant resources. So what are we doing with the resources? What are we doing with the extreme poverty and hunger? Universal primary education, maternity health, infant mortality health, we are zero. Corruption is ripe.
Honorable, you heard our 2 gentlemen talk about Ferdinand and Moki Charles talk about really lambasting the social policy in the state of the nation's address. But I think it's commendable and we are an effort. Did you expect him to say, okay, we are going to create a referral hospital in the southwest region, that is having known, or in the northwest region, which was, you know, promised when he went to Bamenda in 2009?
Well, on the contrary, I would like to thank the President of the Republic for the 3 referral hospitals in Yaoundé, Douala, and Saint-Milima. I hope Buea, Bamenda, the rest of the regions will come subsequently. We can't provide.
I like saying that Yaoundé, Douala can serve Buea and, you know, say southwest and the northwest and west.
But Douala has been serving southwest. It will come maybe next year. The budget of next 2015, 2016. We can't. You know, we have a budget with the new system, the program budgeting. We can't provide everything for Cameroon in this same year. We'll do it subsequently. Maybe 2014, we'll provide it to Bamenda and so on. We'll do it subsequently. We can't provide to every other provinces.
Douala is serving other regions, yes. Do you know how many people have lost their lives in traffic jams between Bonaberi and the Douala Referral Hospital?
So
do you know how many people have lost their lives?
But
those hospitals are not for the poor as Ferdinand.
No, excuse me. What do you want to tell me? So you want to tell me the hospital in Buea can't serve the population for now?
With the staff poorly paid, staff less
so
motivated. In Douala, we have nurses paid 35,000 francs.
So what about the
doctors paid 125,000 francs? There's no motivation.
Is the salary going to be more than the salary for the nurses in Buea, Limbe?
Yeah,
not everywhere in this country. Pay them correctly.
The way some of these hospitals function, they have bonuses in some of those hospitals. They have bonuses exactly which go to the staff.
Yes.
How many of such bonuses do you have in a hospital like Buea? Look at Buea. It was embellished. Structurally, it's fine. But it's just a shadow. Look at what is inside. Buea Hospital runs for several months without water, even in the maternity section.
What's happening? What's happened? I was there last week. There was water.
Oh, there was water last week?
There was water.
All right.
So,
last week.
See, you know, even in Douala, there's water shortage.
That's it.
There's water even in Douala.
So that's why hospitals have special status.
But what I'm saying is that subsequently, I believe with the President of the Republic, the policies he has in place, we'll have referral hospitals in almost all the regions.
That's good. Thank you
We
very
have
much.
not had them for 30 years.
Hospital for the rich.
Thank you. Not hospital for the rich anyway. Ferdinand Difo, gentlemen, we are moving straight to something different, and this time we are going to talk about security after this break. Welcome back. The President of the Republic addressed too many issues when it comes to security, and that is why some people say that the launch of a conscription into the army of about 4,000 Cameroonians is a means to contain the security shortcomings and, of course, the seismic repercussions caused by insurgents, sectarian groups into the country. Honorable Fritz Ngakai Toke, you are a member of parliament. You are with the, you are a member of the Defense and Security Commission of the National Assembly, Cameroon's lower house. President Biya has talked about the security shortcomings, the way insurgents are coming. Are we up to the task?
We are up to the task. I believe we have always been up to the task. The President of the Republic, as you said, has launched a massive recruitment of youths to replace those that are going on retirement.
Is it to replace those who are going on retirement, or to step up, you know?
It's to step up,
the
but
security
some
operatives to
are
contain.
going. No, you know, some, there are a handful of them who are going on retirements too. These youths that are being recruited, we add the number, that is the existing number of military, which is going to beef up our security. Well, before continuing, I would like to first of all congratulate His Excellency President Paul Biya for what he did for the release of Reverend Father Jean-Pierre Van den Broek. All of us are aware.
Yes.
That is a major achievement. As usual, as he has always been diplomatic, he has proven his worth once more. Well, I would like to assure everybody, all Cameroonians, that 2014 will be a year that the security situation of our country will improve upon. It's unfortunate that we said here before we started the program for Mutengene where there's insecurity. I would like to assure you.
Is Mutengene too insecure? Whereas we have the amphibious battalion, we have the police college, and a network of police stations, the gendarmerie, the army, and so on. Are you saying that?
It isn't.
Or just pickpocketing? Is it insecurity?
No. Mutengene, as of now, with the activities that the divisional officer and the chief of post for Mutengene has been doing, I would like to give a pat on their back. Mutengene now is a safe havens. You see, Mutengene in the yesteryears was something else. But Mutengene today,
you are moving frightened.
Like today, Mutengene is like other towns in the country where you have the good, the bad, and the ugly.
But then the goods dominate the ugly and the bad. Moki Charles, is it a diplomatic victory for President Biya when we hear that about 3,000 Cameroonians have been flown back home from the sectarian crisis? You have happened to be in the Central African Republic when you were reporting for the state-run media, and I want to say that you were even taken at one time hostage and bastonado. Is it a victory diplomatically when it comes to security for a country?
Yeah, it's a very good thing. I want to. I congratulate the head of state for that action.
I thought you were going to be
of national. No, I'm not against the head of state. I've never been against him. I'm against certain things that don't. Against some dysfunctional aspects of our system. I've not been against the head of state, but it's a good thing that he thought of this idea of bringing back home some of our brothers and sisters who were trapped in that country. But to say, as I said earlier, the situation in Central African Republic may last longer than we expect. And I think the recruitment of these 4,800 young Cameroonians, whether we like it or not, is an answer to this crisis. We have a very porous border in that part of the country. From Garwa-Bulai, in Lom and Jerem, go down to Kadei, in Kete, in Mbotoro, in Uli, going right down to Bumba and Goko in Mboide, and so on. All along that border is a very, very porous area. In Garigombo, for example, the border is just a piece of a stick which has just been crossed along.
Maybe
the
1
road.
meter away.
Yes, you just come and you push it aside and you go across. You know.
Yes.
Thank you very much,
Yes.
Ferdinand. That's Moki
Yes.
Charles, somebody has really worked in the East and has a mastery of that part of the country. Ferdinand Defoe.
I think first and foremost, what we need as far as security is concerned, we need modern equipment, technology to do monitoring. We need to monitor our borders, surveillance. And why not helicopters? You are talking about the recruitment of 4,800 to 4,900 Cameroonians.
That will spread across the country anyway.
Let me ask you a question. How many of these people who will be trained, working, will be defending banks instead? How many of them are blocked in financial institutions? It's a big problem. They are blocked there firstly because there is insecurity.
At the banks?
Yes. If they are not at the banks, these banks will be robbed. So there's general insecurity inside the country.
Some of them are cooks and yard men.
So you need to train more, or you need to train guys to
bosses.
take care of those banks so that they are free.
Honorable, I think you are going to take this to the Parliament when you have your next session. Are you comfortable with the fact that these guys are trained to guard banks and financial institutions and serve as cooks rather than, working for the defense of the nation? You are a member of the Defense Committee of the National Assembly.
Yes, I don't believe those guys that we are going to train will be cooks. As a member
now,
of
maybe you carry this as a bill to the Parliament.
Yeah, what I'm saying is that as a member of the Defense and Security Committee, if they are cooks in the houses of some military men, then maybe I'm supposed to have about 2 of them as cooks in my house. But I don't have them. But what I want to believe is that I'm a reserve military officer.
Are you a colonel?
Okay. No, what I'm saying is that I want to assure you, for those who have traveled out of the country, it's not only in Cameroon that I have military people guarding banks. I think they were trained for that. It's not all of them that go there. You have one or two.
Security
No,
is
in most developed countries.
The bank pays to the state.
In most
enters the treasury.
I suppose so.
In most developed countries, such jobs are done by security services. It's not the military that takes care of the banks and so on. You have security, even in the United States, you have security agencies that handle that.
But in most banks, like my bank, SAB, have the security agents. So when you're talking about military people, I even doubt.
They are paid to,
security agents from private.
They're paid by those banks or
private security.
Private security. I've not seen any military man. I would like to.
Anyway, yeah, come on, Honorable, go on. Yeah, come on.
Yes, no. I would just like to wish a happy and prosperous 2014 to the Right Honorable Kavai Yege Jibril, the Speaker of the National Assembly, and to the President of the Senate, Mr. Anyat Njifenji Marcel.
Oh, thank you very much, Honorable. We are wrapping up. Ferdinand Defoe, Honorable, anticipated by wishing a Happy New Year to his boss, Kavai Yege Jibril, who came back, bounced back, surprisingly, and contrary to popular opinion. And of course,
who is now like an institution already. The name.
And to Nyat Njifenji. Ferdinand Defoe.
I would just say Happy New Year to SDF militants, sympathizers, and Cameroonians at large.
That's all? Not to the head of state?
He's a Cameroonian. He said as Cameroonians at large.
He's a Cameroonian.
Yeah, Honorable.
Yes, please. Before I go, a special Happy New Year to the entire population of Southwest in general, and to particularly to the people of Pako East, Tiko, and Moyuka. Please, Happy New Year. And
we expect that they should be expecting the celebration of Cameroon's reunification, East and West of Cameroon's soonest, though a date has not been announced. Moki Charles Linonge.
And our major worry is the road between linking Great Support and Small Support under these reunification projects. That road, somebody should stand up and tell us what is happening to that road, especially given the fact that we know that there is a budget for that road. Happy New Year to all the viewers of Canal D. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. And to you televiewers, I must say congratulations for having watched this edition of the program Newsroom. And from all and sundry in our studios, we say goodbye to all of you and a prosperous New Year 2014.